On the island of Newfoundland, upon the southwest coast, lies the little town of Virgil, to whom I'll sing this toast. There are so many highlands that lie just off her shore, and when the cold north wind blows, you can hear the billows roar. The people from the village make their living from the sea. They like their independence. It shows that they are free. Some fish in their small boats in the wind, the rain and sleet, while others make their living on the offshore trawler fleet. They've known their share of tragedies down through the years, and when the memories overcome, they show their grief with tears. For they have lost some loved ones to the furies of the seas, for heartaches and heartbreaks are locked in memories. This village has got beauty carved on its rugged shore. 7 miles of pure white sand. Who could ask for more? The mountains and the valleys where the rivers run so fast, and the salmon rise to the sportsman's fly as he makes another cast. Tell the people of this village love their native home, for anyone who goes away most surely will return. Just like that lifelong mystery, the answer you won't know. What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul? What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul?
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight in our stories we have Addiction Awareness Week, Christmas Hamper Project, construction at Sandbanks, a Red Cross representative, Town Council report. Please stay tuned for these stories after this. Try your luck and play TV bingo sponsored by the Sand and Sea. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any member of the Sand and Sea Committee or in most stores around town. Kathy Cutler came by the studio to pass out prizes that were drawn for during Addiction Awareness Week.
Hello everybody. This week we had a poster contest at the school in recognition of Addictions Awareness Week. So I thought it would be a nice idea to come to the BBS to present the winners. And every grade from preschool up to grade 6 participated, and we had one winner in each grade. Everybody did a really, really good job, but myself and another lady judged all of the participants, and these are the people that did a really, really extremely good job on their posters. So we wanted to give them a special prize just to recognize all the effort they put into it. So I'm just going to call everybody's name, and when I call your name, you come over and you get your present, your prize for your really lovely poster that you did for Addictions Awareness Week. So for the preschool, Ethan Benoit won, but he's not here today, so we're going to give that to his teacher, and she's going to pass that along to him. In grade kindergarten, Georgia McDonald had a lovely, lovely, lovely poster. So come over, Georgia. Thank you for participating. Okay. In grade 2, Kayla Mercer did a really good job. I hope you enjoy your prize, Caitlin. And grade 3, Julie Pink. There's lots of lovely posters in grade 3. Julie. But Julie's was by far lovely. In grade 1, I'm sorry I missed Courtney there. Courtney Bowles won for grade 1. She did a great job on her poster. Come on, Courtney. Congratulations. And Terry Lynn Anderson won, oh no, I'm sorry, Dina McDonald for grade 4. Congratulations, Dina. Thanks for participating. And for grade 5, Terry Lynn Anderson won. Well, she's not here today, so we'll pass that along to her. And for grade 6, Patty Ricketts. Last but not least, she did a great job on her poster too. Thanks for participating. And I'd just like to mention and thank all the students who participated in the poster contest. We try to do it every year. And everybody who wants to have a look at the posters, they can come up to the lobby of the Calder Healthcare Center because they're posted all on the wall up there. So everybody's is placed up there for everybody to see along with the winners. So I invite the general public to come up and have a look. Thank you.
The Anglican and United Churches are continuing the Christmas Hamper project this year. The hampers will consist of items for a complete Christmas dinner to be given out to families in need this holiday season. Items may include turkey, potatoes, cabbage, turnip, carrots, onions, salt beef, cranberry sauce, green peas, and dressing. If you would like to help with this project, please drop your items off at the back of the church. Deadline is Wednesday, December 17th. If you need a hamper, please call Reverend Vallis at 2289, Reverend Gaines at 2222, Elsie Rose at 2559, Linda Pink at 2802, and Marge Ann at 2589. Money donations can be placed in an envelope marked Christmas Hamper and dropped into the collection plate. If you are donating a turkey, please let one of the committee members know, and they will contact you when they are ready to deliver the hampers. Your continued support is greatly appreciated. South Coast Constructions have been doing some work at the Sandbanks Park. They are creating 5 new campsites, a site for tents, upgrading 5 other campsites, and upgrading the road. There are 5 workers there working on the construction. Other heavy equipment are used to bring in the gravel, which is used for the upgrades, and Class A gravel for the road. Kelly Grucci, a representative of the Red Cross, came by the studio to explain her role with the Red Cross. Good evening. In our studios tonight we have Kelly Grucci, who is a representative of the Red Cross for Community Development. Good evening.
Thank you very much.
So what brings you to town this week?
Actually, once a year I come down this way. We have a depot in Ramia, so I'll visit there once a year. And this year I decided to make a special stop in Burgeo and meet with a few people here in town.
Okay. So what kind of things do you do as a representative?
With the Red Cross, I do quite a bit of traveling. Meet with different community members in various parts of Western Newfoundland. So it keeps you interested. It keeps it interesting. But mostly what I do is I work with different groups, different programs within the Red Cross. So individuals are able to take advantage of those programs. For example, down in Ramia this week to visit our healthcare equipment loan program. And with that, people are able to get medical equipment free of charge. Okay. And it's, of course, residents of Burgeo can access that program, along with several others. So part of it is trying to get the word out that, you know, we are here, there are programs available to residents of Burgeo, and take advantage of them if you need them.
Okay. So you mentioned that there's a depot in Ramia. Mm-hmm. So what kind of supplies do you keep on hand there?
We keep standard medical equipment, such as wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, basic equipment that you would need for recovery. So, for example, if you had a hip surgery, there's equipment over there to help you cope until you recover. We bath chairs, transfer benches, so different types of things like that.
Okay, so how do a person get access to this stuff if they needs it?
The only thing we require is a referral from a healthcare professional. It's not based on your income or anything like that. If you need it, it's there. So usually when you're released from the hospital or you meet with a public health nurse, or they'll tell you, well, you really should have this piece of equipment. So they'll fill out one of our referral sheets that we have, and you just take it with you and you just pick up the equipment.
Okay, very good. So what other things involved with this stuff? Like what kind of equipment, if you want to, like, is there a limit to what you can get?
Whatever you need and it's available, there is no limit. So if you need one piece of equipment or you need 6 pieces of equipment, whatever you need to recover, as long as the equipment is available. And if for some reason the Ramia Depot doesn't have all the equipment, you could access it from Stephenville, you could access it from Cornerbrook. There's a depot in Port Bass. There's 7 of them in total in Western Newfoundland. So if one depot doesn't have your piece of equipment, you could always access it through another depot. So there is no limit. If you need it, it's there.
Okay. So is there anything else that you fellows deal with other than medical supplies? Or?
Well, we have a lot of different programs. Another one is our disaster management program. Of course, when people think of that, they think of large-scale disasters, overseas, that type of thing, with the tsunami, several Christmases ago, and of course the anniversary is coming up for that as well. But we also do local. If you lose your house to a house fire, every Christmas we help families that during Christmas there's always a house fire. You could access that. We could provide food, shelter, clothing up to the first 72 hours. So if someone in the Burgeo area was evacuated from their home, I mean, a lot of times when you're in a fire, you walk it with what you have. And you'd be thankful that you got out without getting hurt, and hopefully you don't. So we could help with those basics. Like, you don't have to worry about that for the first 3 days. We got hygiene kits. The last thing people think about when they lose their home is how am I going to brush my teeth. It's there. So the program is there. So if you know anybody that's been affected by a house fire, you could always call, and we'll do our best to assist in any way we can.
Okay. So if someone did want to contact you, what would be the number to get hold of you to?
The best telephone number to reach me at is 634-4626. It is our number to our local office. Currently, even though I'm out, we have volunteers that man the office. 5 dedicated volunteers that keep that office running. So you could always reach me through that way. Email is another great tool that, especially being on the road, yes. You still check your email. And that could be at kelly.grishy@redcross.ca. So it's just a couple of different ways.
Okay, very good. So is there anything else that you would like to add?
Stay safe. Stay safe. The Christmas is coming up. You have to thin ice. Be careful. Be careful. We don't want any more drownings through thin ice again this year. And if you're not really sure what to look for, give us a call. We can give you some safety tips on that as well. So if you've got any questions, give us a shout. You want to volunteer, you'd like to become part of the disaster management team, give me a shout, and we'll see if we can head you in the right direction.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you.
Mayor George Reed came by the studio with his town council report.
Good evening. The council had a meeting on Tuesday night, November the 25th, and I'll give you, what was talked about in council. First, I'm going to give you a water update. You all know by now that the contract has been lit. Phase Engineering, Phase Construction, they're going to do the water system. David Fay, the company president, and Wayne Manuel, the engineer, they're coming in to meet with council on Monday, this coming Monday, to go over the details of the contract and I would assume to give some kind of time schedule on which is going to be started and hopefully completed. Tentatively now, I've been told by the engineer that they're ordering the equipment over winter and hopefully to get the work started about mid-April. It has a 120-day completion date attached to it. So from the time they start, 120 days, they're supposed to have it completed. So I guess we'll hear the details come this Monday. Now that's phase 1. Phase 2, which I've talked about to you, is installing the tank, the water tank. The money has been approved for that. Both the federal and provincial government and the municipality has approved the money for it. Right now, it is waiting. What council is waiting for is for the regional office to give the okay to go to tender. And they tell me that hopefully that their decision will be made before the end of the year. What's holding it up is they're looking into exploring the type of tanks that are out there and of course the costs. So we should have an answer by at least probably by the next meeting in December, by the December meeting. Of course, the tank has to be erected before they can test the water system. In other words, the water system can't be tested until the tank is installed. So basically, they should be worked on basically on the same time to have it completed at the same time, and then once the tank is completed, then you can run the trials on the first phase of it. So hopefully this tank the tender for that will get called early New Year. Because they tell me, the engineer tells me it takes about 3 months to get the tank ordered in order to get it made and delivered on site. It takes about 3 months. Okay. I was in St. John's Monday past and met with a lawyer who's dealing with this case or the fire what we had up there. That's moving forward at a snail's pace, but moving forward according to the lawyer. The complications of this, and I'll just try to explain it very simple. One time, if I had to sue somebody, in other words, if I sued John, then the courts would just hear my case against John. What have happened now is that if I sue John, and John's got somebody else doing work for him, on behalf of me, then John will sue Jim, and Jim will sue somebody else, and somebody else will sue somebody else. And what they've done now is that the courts allowed all of these cases to come into play at the one time. So therefore, they don't just deal with my case suing John. They deal with all the other cases that are relevant to my case. And this is what made it so complicated. And right now there's 11 lawyers involved in this legal case, and it looks like everybody is suing everybody. So this is what's making it so complicated and taking such a long time to get it into the courts. Our incinerator, I think I mentioned last time on the incinerator, the incinerator will remain open after the end of the year for a little while longer until they have something erected up there to look after the garbage. Right now, the engineers are doing a report on what to do with the garbage in the western region. Western region is Corner Brook and Stephenville and all of this area encompasses Burgeo. And they will have a report into government by Christmas. So I guess it's going to be into sometime in the new year, into spring, before we really know what they're going to do with our garbage here in Burgeo. But that's it's ongoing, and I guess it's going to be sooner than later. The arena has been trying to get a ice system up there for a while. They're trying to get this eco ice system. Basically, they're putting in big compressors to bring down the temperature in the building, pretty much like walking into a walk-in freezer. They're trying to get a system installed. They're almost to the point of going to tender. And there is some complications with it, because there's about the what type of compressors and that type of thing they're going to use, and there are a number of contractors who want to get involved on going to tender with it. So therefore, it's not ready to go to tender yet. There will be a meeting this coming Monday with the engineer and with the arena committee and with a representative from the regional office, municipal regional office, to see if they can iron out and get this thing to tender fairly quickly. I personally don't think that there'll be anything up there this year any different than last year. You know, I'm sure the committee has been working very, very hard to make it happen this year, but it doesn't seem like that might be the case. But you'll hear more about that in the next meeting. On Tuesday night, Council adopted a motion that there will be no smoking on town property. No smoking on town property. And it's basically, of course, keeping up with Joneses. In other words, a lot of other towns in Newfoundland have passed this motion that there will be no smoking on town property. Right now, of course, the provincial government law is that you're not allowed to smoke in public buildings. This town have just went a little step further and passed a motion saying that there will not be any smoking on town properties. So for those, of course, who are smoking, govern yourself accordingly. We've checked into cell phone services, and a line keeps telling us that to increase coverage on the Burgeo Road is far too expensive for the amount of return. And like every business, of course, it's the bottom line that they're looking after, and they are a business that are in to make a profit, and they're not going to spend millions of dollars to increase the coverage on the Burgeo Road if the return is too small. And basically that's what it tells us. The return for their investment is too small to spend that type of money for increasing the cell phone coverage. At the meeting on Tuesday night, the inside-outside worker was approved. Michael Billard was the inside-outside worker. The job was given to Michael Billard. So good luck to you, Michael. We've sent a letter off to the Minister of Transportation inquiring about brush cutting on the Burgeo Highway this fall. But from my sources that I've heard around, that there's not any money in the budget to do any further cutting this year. And of course, you've all heard the news on the TV that there is a very tight economic crunch in the world, in Canada, and in Newfoundland. So basically, I guess we're going to be victims of that economic crunch. Of course, winter driving is up on us, and the snow. We're very fortunate not to have too much up to this point in time. But of course, this is coming, and we had a taste of it just, I think, the weekend there, Monday, whatever day it was. I wasn't in town, but tell me there was snow here. You're going to have to be patient with the snow clearing. You know, I think this council probably does one of the best jobs that I've seen in any towns around. They do an excellent job on snow clearing and salting and sanding. But like everything else, you know, these people don't work 24 hours a day, and sometimes they're in their bed, you know. By the time they gets up, there's a half a foot of snow down, and or whatever, or rain have turned to ice, and so on and so forth. So you got to give the town workers time to move on this, time to clear things up. You know, you can't be up 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, running around Burgeo expecting the roads to be sanded and salted. So, you know, town manager makes the decision very swiftly, I know, and he's a early bird. He's always done the office by 7 o'clock, so he's up fairly early. But you know, there are times when this winter, that like every other winter, that the roads are going to be caught with snow on them or ice on them, and so be very, very careful when driving until the roads get sanded and salted. And I'm sure the workers will do everything in their power to make it safe as quickly as possible. So your patience, of course, is required in that case. Of course, the other thing too is that it's nearing the end of the year. 1 month left in the budget, and we're getting tight. You know, money is you know, it's just not there. We can't just shove our hand in and pull wads of it type of thing. And we're pulling it from one area to put it in another area. That one area was over budget, another area was under budget. So we're kind of balancing out, trying to make sure that we got enough money there to cover the budget for this year without going over. Now, that's always the case in December. Council was given an update from the RCMP superintendent, R.G. Reeves. He was here in Burgeo a few days ago, and was looking at the detachment down there. And at this point in time, that he says he doesn't see any chance of getting a new detachment for Burgeo until probably 2015. So you're looking at another 7 years for a new detachment. Of course, perhaps there's an earthquake and the other one falls down. We also approved spending of invoices for $23,000. There have been, to date this year, there's been 163 permits given out for various reasons to the residents of Burgeo. And last but not least is the running water. Of course, it's the running water season. We've talked about this for years, and I guess we'll talk about it for years to come. We're seen to be getting through to some people, where some people are taking it serious, and they are reducing the amount of water that they're flowing in their pipes. They're also, not starting it so early and not running it so late. So they are conserving, and that's basically what we want you to do: conserve Of course, conserve to the point where you don't run it at all, but that's a hard thing for council to try to implement, because we've got nobody policing this stuff or anything else, so we're really appealing to you. If the fact that the water wasn't treated, it wouldn't make any difference, you know. You could run it at your heart's content, but what you're running away is treated water, and treated water is very, 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 very expensive. You buy the water in the store, and the water you buy in the store, I would assume it's treated water, and that's why it's they got it in the bottles and so on, and so that's expensive. So you can imagine the cost it takes to treat all the water that runs through your taps, runs through your toilet, you know, your laundry and the whole works of it. Every bit of that is treated to the point where you can drink any of it. And therefore, that's why we've been trying to get people to reduce the amount of water that they're running. Now, I know there's still some people out there are very, very stubborn, very pig-headed. They won't just do anything. They won't, you know, make no difference how we approach them to try to get them to do this, how we explain it to them. They'll just simply turn on their water, let it run in full blast, and you know, the hell with it. You know, I'm going to let that run until May comes. Some people even go as far as won't even turn it off at all. You know, and that's not very nice, because everybody is paying for that waste of water. So please, we understand you do have to run water in certain situations. Try to run as little as possible, and probably try to run it only in the periods when you know it might freeze up. There are a number of rigs out there today, and I suppose sometime in the future, as the cost of treating water escalates, the councils are going to have to look at how to curb the running of water. There are a number of ways of doing it. One is to put a heat tracer on your pipe. They have a number of heat tracers now. One you can wrap around your pipe, one you can shove right down through your pipe, a little small wire that goes down through your pipe. So there are a number out there. Of course, the other one, which nobody really wants, but might have to come into effect, and that's metering. So if you put meters on your house, and they got meters today that you can put them on. They're very simple to put on, doesn't cost very much, and in fact, you don't even have to go to the house to get the reading. You just go drive by in car, and it comes up wireless, and it just tells you exactly the amount of water that you're using in that house. That's another option that some council in the future might have to look at. So, you know, if you don't curb your running water excessively, or just don't pay any attention to it at all, say, I'm going to do whatever I want to do with the water, then one day you might just have to pay right through the nose for it. There'll be a meter stuck on your house. And that's about it for the news this month. Good night, and have yourself a good week.
This concludes our programming for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.